Hi, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lifestyle with Dr. Moby. I'm Dr. Moby, and today we are honored with great guest all the way from UK. Let's welcome Ruth. How are you doing?
Hi, Dr. Moby. I'm good, thank you. How are
Yeah.
you?
Good, good. And so, who can imagine with COVID, we are talking right across so many miles away, right?
Yeah. In my very crammed office because
Uh,
I'm kind of like we've all landed in the house and my other space is being used.
Okay, no problem, no problem. So she's from UK and she is actually having a nicer day there than US here in DC. We are have rainy. We have their weather and they have our weather
Yeah,
probably.
we've taken that from you.
For a change. So Ruth is doing a lot of great work, especially with the mental health, and this is her website. Check her website out, and let's listen from her herself. So Ruth, you go by Roo Betty, or how do you like to be called?
Yeah, Roo Betty. Roo Betty is kind of like my pseudonym. I'm a yoga teacher, and I've been a yoga teacher for eight, 8, 9 years now. And I've always suffered with my mental health, and it's been quite challenging at times. And even though being a teacher and telling all the people how to calm down and how to meditate, doesn't necessarily mean that you take some of it on board. And
Mhm,
although you know all the things,
mhm,
putting them in place is harder than you imagine. And about 2 or 3 years ago, I kind of was like, right, I really need to get a grip on this. So I
mhm,
went on my own sort of mental health journey and went out there to find all the things to make myself feel better. And the drawing the cartoons was one of them. And so that's how Roo Betty was born.
mhm,
And that's why the company's out there. It's kind of all the things that I know that
mhm,
make you feel better. Whether you take that on board and you do it too is another thing, and that's
mhm.
half of it. It's knowing when the right time to do it for yourself.
Okay. Also, would like to know from you is tell us about your journeys. You have indicated you have done so much for yoga. How did you start? Why yoga?
So I started my own practice of yoga about where are we now? 17 something like years ago.
Wow.
I didn't go to classes. I got a video of a lady and I watched it at home because I was so scared about going to classes and I didn't really want to. And it wasn't it's not like a hardcore yoga class. This was a really gentle, and I knew I needed to move my body, and I knew
Mm,
that I needed to do some exercise that I liked doing, and I kind of liked doing it. And so then I started going to classes, and I found again, not a traditional yoga class. I went to Les Mills, which had a bit of yoga, a bit of Pilates, a bit of Tai Chi, and I tried that. And again, I enjoyed it.
mm,
And that's when I started going to more traditional classes after that, and kind of trying other styles of yoga. So much out there. And really, I went in at most people go in on the physical element of yoga, and it's only through doing the practice of yoga do you start understanding all the other limbs that go with it, or the other benefits that come from that. And yeah, it's then you start to kind of really invest in yourself and really kind of challenge yourself to understand what that means
mhm,
and go forward.
mhm. Also, I'd like to know from you, I always wondered what is the difference between yoga and other modalities, other things you have mentioned. So tell me a little bit about how would you differentiate them?
So the main thing I find about yoga is it's a lot more centered. You are really thinking about yourself entirely through the practice. You are monitoring how you feel. You decide whether you're going to moderate the poses, what you're going to do for yourself, how fast you move, how slow you move. It's really in time with the breath. Whereas when you go into classes like Pilates or more of a fitness-based practice, it tends to be very go-getting and hardcore and picking up the pace. It's not about, there's more challenge to it, but it's not about how you feel on that day. Whereas when I go to yoga, it tends to, you practice with how you feel. And bear in mind, each class is different. Every teacher teaches a whole different practice, but I find it's very much about how I feel on the day and what I need to get out of it, rather than what is going to do for me in the future.
So what you have indicated is with yoga, you are focusing on yourself more, and there's but in Tai Chi and other modalities, people want to basically do more of physical exercise, let's say, or fitness more. But this is for you only. Yoga is basically for yourself.
So yeah, yoga comes. So when you go to a class and you're doing the actual physical fitness side of the yoga, that's one element. But there is so much you get from the class, from when the teacher brings in her own practice, or maybe gives you ideas of where you could look within yourself to challenge yourself within the practice. And then when you come home, it's about accessing your own journey, and you will go on it when you're ready. These people always say this about the yoga journey. It's not like you don't have to do it. You can just go to yoga every week. That's what you want to do. Yeah, just do that. But there is other elements of how to look at yourself, and whether you're doing the best for the community, whether you're doing the best for your own mental health and well-being, whether you're putting out a message of peace and love, and whether you're doing that or not, that's up to you, really. You don't have to do these. Nobody's forcing you, put it that way.
So basically, you can pick your own routine, or do you have to do every day?
So when I practice at home, with I do whatever feels right for me. I have recently been diagnosed with hypermobility syndrome, and so I really have to monitor how I practice. I can't do it how I used to throw myself around when I was younger. I have to change that as I've got older, and do a different type and style of practice, but it's still the same at the end of it, really.
So also for audience sake, I would like to kind of get your little bit depth on yoga. So yoga has been there for centuries, very ancient. Actually, it was actually introduced probably in India more. And then it has basically emphasized on three. There are physical postures, there's a breathing technique, and then there is meditation, right?
Yeah.
So do you have to incorporate all those three, or can you pick one more than the other?
So when I teach, I will teach a physical element. There'll be a breathing element within the class, and then at the end we have meditation. But because of this type of classes that are delivered in the Western world, they're more compacted into an hour, and then so you can't really expand so much within that hour. Sometimes I put on dedicated classes that look just at breathing, or I put on a dedicated class where we just do a lot more meditation. But usually what I want to say within a class is this is a taster. I'm kind of giving you something. You go home and you explore it further. You explore the breathing on a daily basis. You explore the meditation in the comfort of your own home, because it's very hard to do meditation in a packed room full of people. And you do it in the way that fits with your life and your routine, because if I force you to do it, it won't be planted. You won't do it. So
Okay.
it has to be something that I kind of give you an idea of, and then you just take home and do it.
Take home and do it. Okay. Also, like to know from you, with yoga, does it also involve that you have to actually sleep better or kind of have some more discipline, eating, sleeping, and your physical, or does it doesn't involve
Personally,
that?
I'm one of those people that likes to do things my way.
Okay.
I have tried the getting up at 4 or 5 in the morning and doing my hour of meditation, and I was not a very nice person. So I decided that if I did it my way and worked it for me in the way that works for me, it would be better. Again, the diet, the diet wise, a lot would prescribe it to be vegan or vegetarian, but actually it's not really said in that way. It's more of a kind of non-harming. And personally, for my own health, I've tried being vegetarian and vegan, and it makes me very ill. I ended up being very anemic. So personally, I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I try to choose the food that has been looked after well and comes from great farms, and in that respect, that's how I choose to practice it, rather than so formal in I'm not eating that and I'm not doing that. Does that make sense?
Okay. Now, does it matter that you can do yoga in the morning or evening?
Again, I don't prescribe to getting up straight out of bed to do it because of the spinal fluid. You need about half an hour or so to get your spinal fluid to kind of settle. And then, yeah, you can do yoga wherever. It doesn't have to be a prescribed routine. You can take a few elements out of it and do some movements that are great for you then, and then you can go and do an afternoon practice or an evening practice. I like to split mine up through the day, so I do little bits here and there. I'm a kitchen yoga person. I'm in my kitchen, balancing on one leg often.
Oh, so you're doing in your kitchen? Wow!
Yeah.
Wow!
Cleaning my teeth to chair pose, things like that. I tend to kind of scatter my practice throughout the day rather
Oh, so you scatter throughout the day rather
than,
than just. Oh, wow, that's cool. I did not know that you could do. Oh, do you count like how much time you spend in that, or it doesn't matter?
Again, no. I mean, there are days when getting on the mat is about as all I can do. It's you roll out the mat and you sit down, and that's it. I've done days where 2 or 3 hours of yoga has gone by, and you're like, oh my god, how did I get to doing 3 hours of yoga?
Wow!
And other days, yeah, as I say, especially when I had an operation and I was recovering from that, yeah, the most I could do was roll the mat out and sit on it because it hurt that much. But again, that's the nature of the practice. It's sometimes, and I advocate that to anybody in my class, when they say, how do I make it work at home? And I say, buy a mat or a rug or a towel that's dedicated to your practice and put it out on the floor and sit on it. And then they say, well, what do I do then? And I said, well, you'll know what to do. You'll do things. You'll move your body. You might lie down. You might do a few cat-cows. You might suddenly go, oh yeah, I remember this in class, and do something. But I think sometimes when you really prescribe something and go, right, I'm going to do this, it makes people shy away from it, and then they go, I don't really want to, and then you don't. And that's worse, doing nothing.
So you recommend buying something. So start from somewhere, and then you'll gradually morph into something more, right?
Yes. Yeah. Don't expect to jump on that mat and be standing on your head within a week.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
not going to happen.
that's not gonna happen. Also, I like to kind of point out, and I think you're a big believer on that, is for mental health. So, what disorder it really helps your experience?
So I would say that, you know, if you're suffering from mental distress, depression,
Mm.
anxiety, um, you know, when I've been diagnosed bipolar, I mean, whether that is what my diagnosis is now, I know that it's great for children with ADHD and learning difficulties. It's a time where because it's so centered, because it's so about relaxing, and it's about being there for yourself. That's why it works, because you are centering on self-love and care, and you're understanding what you need. That's what I get from the practice. I get that kind of, when I stand on the mat, I know that everything else can go hang. This is here for me. And then you start to understand how you move, you understand how you breathe, you understand how your thoughts are coming in, what you're thinking about, why you're thinking about it. And then that way it gives you more ability to let things go that aren't important. It gives you space to organize your thoughts so that when you need to talk to somebody about it, you can.
Mhm.
When I've taught children, especially who are autistic or ADHD, it takes time. You know, they're not somebody who come in and just get on the mat and do exactly what you say. You know, you have to gain their trust.
Mhm.
And I normally find those sort of children, they love the meditation at the end. They love to lie down. They love a bit of gentle music. They love you to talk softly to them and allow them just space to be within themselves. And so that's what's really great about teaching. And you see that change when you teach adults as well as children. You do see a change in people.
Okay, very nice. So, just for recap, it will help probably, that's your experience. And I'm sure a lot of studies probably indicated that too, that it helped a lot of mental disorders
Yes.
and mental health. And also, have you seen it really helps with menopausal symptom, hot flashes, or does that help women especially?
Well, from personal experience in that, I'm afraid that HRT is what's helped with that. But what it has helped is when I have had to do meditation, which I do daily, literally, the last thing I do before I go to bed is a 5 or 10 minute meditation. It does help with my sleep. I
Oh,
can guarantee that.
very,
that.
very nice. Yeah, I just had some questions. So somebody asked, well,
What does it help with menopause?
yeah, I better ask her,
I'm personally, I am cutting out the sugar. That's what's helping with my perimenopause symptoms. I have cut out a lot. I'm not as much alcohol as I had at all. You know, alcohol is a once in a blue moon now, rather than every weekend or whatever. Sugar has gone. I've decreased my meat eating anyway, but it's only to a couple of times a week. As I say, I was anemic, so I have to eat something. I just can't get enough with the supplements. So I rate doing some kind of meditation, even just to bring down the heart rate, the blood pressure. It really helps with that.
Okay, so I'm coming now to some of the illnesses: asthma, lung disease, COPD, MS, cancer, and smoking. So, any thoughts on any of them?
Yeah. So yoga is not, and I repeat, not a cure-all. It doesn't cure you of anything.
Anything.
It assists you with your symptoms. So the breathing exercises in particular, there's studies with COPD and asthma that if you do, and I am an asthma sufferer, so I know that this works. I decreased my use of steroid medication because of using deep breathing exercises. And that's all it is. It's about exercising the intercostal muscles. It's about using the full breath of your lungs and expanding your lung capacity as best you can. And because of doing the breath control exercises, I tend not to panic. So, you know, when you're in the midst of an asthma attack, or you know that an asthma attack could possibly happen, you aren't quite as frightened, and therefore you feel a little bit more in control. But is it a cure? I wouldn't stretch as cures. I would say assistance of symptoms.
Sure. So what you're saying is it helps to kind of lessen the use of inhalers, maybe, and steroids. So kind of clear up.
Especially for a mild asthma. Yeah, I mean, my mother-in-law has COPD, and nothing is going to change that. But I do know that when you incorporate the exercises and the breathing exercises, you just feel stronger in your ability to manage your condition, and that's the key.
Okay, one more question coming your way is that what are the risks with yoga?
Well, like any physical exercise, there are risks of injuring your muscles and your joints. As I say, I'm hypermobile. So I have hypermobile stenosis, and that is what makes you so bendy, which is why you see a lot of yoga people being able to bend in half. Don't let that put you off, because just because you can't touch your toes doesn't mean you shouldn't do yoga. But yeah, the risk to overstretching, if you are hypermobile, you have to be mindful of that. The risk of forcing yourself into poses that you're not ready for, and you're not strong enough to achieve. So it's headstands and anything where you balance on your head. I mean, that can damage your neck and your back. And especially if you fall wrong, you can hurt yourself. But yeah, this is why the practice should be from a beginner's level up, and you should never just go straight in at the top or expect to do a lot of the things that you may see in a yoga class.
So what you're saying is basically go slow and just kind of watch your physical and limits on that.
Yeah.
Don't push your limits.
No, never push your limit. I mean, it's if you want to go down that route of trying to get to standing on your head and handstands and all of that, you know, you have to know what you can and can't do from the outset. So, you know, there are some hidden disabilities that you don't know you have. You know, if you have got weaknesses in the bones, or you have hypermobility and you're not stable, to try and do some of the poses would not be right for you. And that's half the practice as well, you know, understanding your limits and knowing what you can and can't do, and being okay with that. You know, that's important too. And as I say, it's about any physical fitness. If you do other forms of physical, you know, like weightlifting or running, they can assist you in your progression if that's the kind of way you want to go. But as I say, I never was, my goal was not to stand on my head. My goal was not to touch my toes. My goal was to be calm within myself and to understand who I am and where I'm going.
Okay, one more question coming your way is somebody asked, does it help sleep?
That I can say for sure. The meditation does give you a good night's sleep. So yeah, I know that of a lot of people who attend my classes. That's the one thing they always say when they come back is, "Oh my goodness, I had a good night's sleep last week." So yeah, that does work.
Okay, so it does.
Every time, you know, some other factors come in with sleep, but most of the time it helps. Yeah.
Okay, so for sleep, do you recommend doing yoga before bedtime, or what time is good for that?
So yeah, that you don't want to do yoga too close to meal times. You don't want to sort of eat and then go straight into a yoga class, because that's not good for anybody's digestion. But at least an hour before bed or half an hour before bed to do some gentle movements, gentle twists and turns, especially before bed, because that can aid with digestion. And that's what you're trying to achieve before a bedtime routine, is some digestion, so that you can sleep well, so your stomach isn't so cramped.
Yeah.
Yeah, that can help.
No, I think that's a good point, not to do late night eating. It never helps. So also make sure, wake up on kind of schedule. Do not mess up on weekend. No parties, late night party.
It's about moderation. It's about understanding your body and what you need to do when and where. I eat dead early. I'm a 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock eater. I don't eat in the evening.
So you don't stay. Okay. So I think some of the data, I'm just kind of comparing with what they have seen. It's great results with anxiety disorder, depression, chronic pain, and that really helps. And sleep for sure. So that's a good news. I think anybody wants to learn more, they can check out. But what is the best information site? I know one is your website. We can put that again.
Yeah.
But what other things people can get to know more about yoga?
So if you want to find out more about yoga, basically just start with Googling. You get down a path of anywhere it chooses you. YouTube has got so many videos. I am on YouTube under a different guise, on my Roo Betty on yoga, on that particular page, that you can go to my yoga club links, where I'm teaching yoga for free there. But if you want other people to do yoga too, there's so many out there. Don't dismiss the first class if it's not for you, because each teacher teaches a different style. Each teacher teaches slightly different. Maybe they speak to you in a different way. So never be put off by your first class.
Okay.
Put off if you're not really, it's not for you, because I can guarantee you there's a yoga teacher for you out there.
Oh, okay, great. So a lot of resources I see on your website, and people can check out. I think most fascinating, I love these colors. Look at the colors you have indicated. So you love all the different shades, huh?
Yeah, the colors. I was looking into a bit of the chakra healing, a little bit of color therapy when I came up with that, because it fascinated me how, as I got more into yoga, and as I got more into the chakras and the healing side of it and the therapy side of yoga, how to assist you in feeling better, because that's half of any illness struggle. It's about feeling better, and that's important.
And that is such a beautiful message. I want to read that. Love starts within. Oh my God, that is so cool. And then so you are a star. Talk to you. It's really great message. Simple but straightforward, and state what is really needed. Dream big. Wow, that's very cool. Did you design all those?
Yes, so they're my little cartoon, and as I say, they started off when I was quite ill with my mental health, and when I went into a mindfulness course. She asked me to go back to doing something I loved, and that was drawing, and I loved drawing. And so I sat down one day and I just drew this little cartoon girl, and I looked at her and was like, what do I need to say? And I realized what I wasn't saying to myself, and that's where she comes from. She is saying all the things that I was not saying. I wasn't celebrating my wins. I wasn't loving myself from within. I wasn't allowing myself to relax and breathe. Wasn't dreaming of futures. I was so stressed out, and I was so caught up
Mhm.
in family life that I'd forgotten who I was. And so that's really all those messages are about, how to stop and take a breath, and then you move forward a better version of yourself.
Mhm. And you put this very nice, still a queen. Now, which queen are you referring to? Not Her Majesty.
Still a queen. So that was an interesting story, actually, why she came about. I just came back from my mindfulness lesson, and I was really not, I was very upset, and I was driving home and I felt terrible, and I kept thinking to myself, what was wrong? Why can't you get this? And you deserve to be important. You are important. And I thought, well, I'm not as important as the queen. And then this little voice sort of said in my head, yes, you are. You're a queen. You're a queen of your family. You are royalty. This is you.
Yeah,
If it's only linear, it's only from some birthright somewhere. Let's just say I'm queen of my family. So at that point, it makes you feel better, and you just think, yeah, I am. I am a queen.
I agree completely. Everybody is queen in their territory. There's
Yeah.
nothing. There's nobody can dispute that.
No.
You can, so like even the original queen of England, she's only in England. She's not queen of.
She's not queen of the world.
Yeah, she's not
Queen
queen
of
of
the universe. She's not. She's the queen of England, but she's not queen of my family. I am queen of my family.
Yes. That's what is the point. That's what is the point. Yeah, that's such a great point, actually. So, any final thoughts you have, Roo?
My thoughts are, just love yourself. Look calmly. Take time to get to know yourself. If you're feeling troubled, think about what it is you really truly want and really truly need. You need to be brave and be able to verbalize it, because other people need to know. They're not mind readers. If you can take practice of yoga, then do it. I really recommend it. Gives you the space that you need on a daily basis or a weekly basis or a couple of times a week. Don't feel that you have to do this stuff every 5 minutes to be
Oh,
amazing.
yeah, that makes sense. So, I think that is such a great message that, believe in it and then keep doing gradually. That's fine. Whatever is safe for you, you don't have to really do all at 1 week or 1 day or few days. Just keep it up and keep slow and steady, and keep doing whatever you do. You believe in yourself and you are queen and your world. So that's the most important message. We have to give that to everyone and relax.
Just go slow. As I said before, even if lying on your yoga mat is all the yoga you did today, that's still yoga.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's my yoga. Okay. So it was a pleasure talking to you. And so, with that, thank you for coming to our show. Check our website, and I put that back again, and it is roobetty.com, right?
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks, Dr. Modi. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Yes, same here. Okay, you take care and have a nice rest of the day.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.